Hi, I'm Sean Rashid, partner with SRJ Chartered Accountants, and today I'm joined by my colleague, Craig Gibson, Senior Manager from Scotiabank Healthcare Banking. Welcome to part 2 of our video series about healthcare, finance, and accounting for doctors and dentists. Craig, one of the questions I get asked quite often by clients is if I want to purchase a building that I'm currently occupying for my practice, or if I'm looking to buy a new practice, should I also acquire the building? Is this something the bank's okay financing, and if so, what are the terms of those deals?
Yeah, we actually encourage our clients to look at buying their building if they can, because with dentists and doctors, we find they're in their space for a long time, 25, 30, sometimes even 40 years. And rather than paying rent and not getting any equity, it's always a great idea, if you could afford it, to buy that building. So we always say to them, if you can buy it and you can afford it, then definitely consider buying it. Obviously, talk to your accountant, talk to your lawyer first, but we recommend it, and we have a program for financing it.
Got it. And in terms of the loan, is there a specific length of time that you will give the financing for?
Yeah, we break it into 2 portions. There's 75% of the loan is over 25 years, and then 25% of the loan is over 15 years. It's 100% financed, which is based on the appraised value or the purchase price, whatever is lesser.
Okay, and is it an open loan? Can they pay it down as they please, or is it just set up like a mortgage?
No, so it's an open loan. It's a 25 and the 15-year part, but they're completely open. So there's no prepayment penalties. They could pay it as fast as they would like to.
Okay. And what documentation do you look for from the physician or the dentist when they're looking to purchase the property?
So we need a purchase and sale agreement for sure, just to establish the name and also the price of the practice. We would have to get an appraisal done by a third party. There's some environmental paper we have to fill out in terms of checking on the status of the building environmentally. And then the client would also give us their financial statements and their personal tax returns for the past 2 years.
Got it. And you know, usually when we're structuring these transactions, we look at various entities or corporations to hold the property, because we don't want to necessarily have the property into the MPC or the DPC, the professional corporations. Is there any issue with the bank if, let's say, it's held within a holdco, or if the physician or the dentist wants to hold it personally?
No, they actually always usually do hold it under a holding corporation that can be owned by a spouse or a family member. The only stipulation we have, whether it's an owned property or a leased property, is we want to provide the financing to the dentist or doctor for their main purpose. So it has to be for a dental office or for a medical office. And also, there has to be a lease in place. The lease has to run for as long a time period as the loan. If it's a 10-year loan for the build out of the practice, the lease has to be at least 10 years long with renewal options. Same as if you lease it, we would need a 10-year lease also. Okay,
got it. And let's say in an instance where it's not viable for them to buy the property, or it's a new practice, are there any other considerations you may have in terms of red flags or things that the physicians or dentists should be aware of?
The main thing we would say is when you're leasing a premises, we always want to make sure that you're going to have the ability to be there for at least a 10-year period or longer for your practice. You have to look out for things like demolition clauses and such things where your practice could be in jeopardy. When you own the building, you have much more flexibility and freedom, because as the owner, you can do a lot more things with that premises, that space. You could renovate, add, do more things to the practice without getting permission from a landlord. So we always tell our clients that it is better if you can buy, as long as you can afford it, because it does give you not only flexibility, it also gives you flexibility down the road. So you could sell that practice, you could keep the building, you could sell both, you could rent it back to the next person that buys from you. You have a lot more options down the road if you own the premises.
Got it. And so we've talked about the external structure and buying the building, but how about the internal, the leasehold specifically? Will the bank finance that on top of the actual building itself?
Yeah, if it's an existing office and there's not much required, it's minimal. But say you're buying an empty building or a shell, we would also provide you financing, usually under your medical corporation or your dental, for the build-out, purchase of any equipment, leasehold, soft costs of actually opening up the premises.
Okay, that's fantastic. I think we've covered most of the areas there. If you yourself, your colleagues have any questions specifically about buying the property for your practice, you can give Craig a shout. If you have any other tax or accounting questions, you can reach out to me directly. We have our contact information below. Stay tuned for our next video, which is going to discuss cash flow requirements for your business and how to stay on top of your bills and even investments. Thanks for watching.